In the headlines, ISWAP abduct 7 police members of civilian JTF in Borno State. APC names members of Presidential Campaign Council as Vice President and Secretary to the Government of the Federation are missing. National Association of Nigerian Students ask ASU to end strike. And on the foreign scene, Russian proxies hold breakaway polls in Ukraine. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Nten Ekpan. And on the news in full, at least 7 security men were abducted by the Islamic State of West African Province, ISWAP terrorist group, in the early hours of Saturday in the northern eastern Gubbio local government area of Borno State. It was gathered that the security men, comprising 1 policeman, 4 members of the Civilian Joint Task Force, the CJTF, and 3 hunters were abducted after they were overpowered by the terrorists who stormed their location in large numbers. Police sources told Zagazola Makama, a counterinsurgency expert and security analyst in Lake Chad, that the security men were attacked at the rural urban migration site Ruga at Pompom Balia village, located about 5 kilometers to Gubbio. The terrorists carted away 1 Hilux patrol vehicle and weapons and thereafter moved towards Gedai village in the Ingenzai local government area. Bandits have abducted 5 persons and also snatched 6 motorcycles along Tekpeshe Gurudi community in Gurudi ward of Abaji area council of Abuja. The bandits had a fortnight ago invaded Tekpeshe community, killing 1 person and abducted a former councillor, Mohammed Ibrahim Tanko, village chief of the village, Saraki, alongside others. A sum of 5.2 million naira ransom, including drugs and recharge cards worth 75,000 naira, was said to have been collected by the bandits before the victims were set free last Friday. Confirming the latest kidnap incident through telephone on Saturday, the incumbent councillor representing Gurudi ward, Wose Ishaya, said the incident happened around 5 p.m. when the bandits blocked the road between Tekpeshe Gurudi and abducted 5 persons on motorcycles. The FCT Police Command is yet to issue a statement on the incident. Now, 4 bodies have been evacuated and 3 rescued in the 3-story building that collapsed at Oyesonga Street, East Solo Road area of Mushin local government area of Lagos. The Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Femi Oke, confirmed the development on Friday evening. The building caved in around 12 noon on Friday, with people trapped in the debris, while rescue operations have been intensified. He disclosed that as at 7:49 p.m., 4 bodies had been retrieved from the building, which included the bodies of 2 males and 2 females. He said 3 people have been rescued so far and taken to the hospital.
We are on top of crowd control. We are painstaking in our procedure, and we rescue 3 people under the rubbles. However, we sympathize with the families that lost their beloved ones in here. We recovered 4 bodies, 2 females and 2 males. And you can see that operation is ongoing under the watch of Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu. We will do holistic investigations. Then we will be able to ascertain what causes it. Because we need to be empirical about what we are doing. We will carry out investigations. We will do integrity tests. We will ask questions before we could conclude what led to this building collapse.
In politics, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is not on the Presidential Campaign Council of the ruling All Progressives Congress, the APC. Osinbajo, who is among those who sought the presidential ticket of the ruling party, supposedly fell out with the APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu in the build-up to the primary election. Now, the 422-man list released by the Presidential Campaign Council Secretary James Falake late Friday has the presidential candidate and the party's national chairman Abdullahi Adamu as deputy chairman 1 and 2 respectively. Now, in a statement, Falake, while announcing the nominees of the leadership of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, advised them to pick up their appointment letters on Monday, 26 September 2022 at noon. Meanwhile, the Tinubu-Shettima Presidential Campaign Council says the non-inclusion of the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is not an indication that something is amiss within the party. A statement from the chief spokesperson and director of public affairs of the council, Festus Keyamo, said since President Buhari is the chairman of the council, the president specifically directed that the vice president and the secretary to the government of the federation, Boss Mustafa, be left out of the campaign council to enable them concentrate on the governance of the country and administration of government. Keyamo noted that as a responsible party and government, all key functionaries of government cannot abandon their positions for electioneering campaigns. The campaign council said as a party that has a mandate of the Nigerian people to administer the country on their behalf at least till May 29, 2023, it intends to do so with all sense of responsibility, campaigns or not. Activities marking the 4th anniversary of the Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi and the inauguration of the Governor-elect Biodun Oyebanji have commenced in the state. The Commissioner for Information and Values Orientation, Wole Omole, who also doubles as the chairman of the anniversary, while briefing newsmen in Ado-Ekiti on the anniversary, tagged Finishing Well, said the celebration is meant to showcase the progress and successes recorded by the outgoing administration. Omole said the 1 month-long activities are to give an account of stewardship by Fayemi's administration to the people of the state. In the course of the celebration, the Ekiti International Agro-Allied Cargo Airport will be inaugurated. 36 people honored and several other projects commissioned in the state.
It's not a new fight, administrative-wise. It was an integral part of all the fees recorded by the outgoing administration. This simply means that the path to sustainable development already marked out by the Fayemi-led administration will be followed through in the overall best interest of its people. Gentlemen of the press, I'm therefore using this video to appeal to you to rally around the incoming administration in the best interest of our people. Let us join hands with our governor-elect and the deputy governor-elect to consolidate on the legacy policies, programs, and projects of the Fayemi-led government and keep it working in our collective best interest.
The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS Zone E Northeast, has called on the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to toe the path of honor by respecting the court judgment to return to the classes. The coordinator, NANS Zone E, Al Hassan Adam, made the call during a press conference at the NUJ Press Center in Bauchi. Adamu Imam completes that story.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has been on strike since February 14, 2022 to press home their demand for improved funding for universities, a review of salaries for lecturers, among other issues. The federal government went to the National Industrial Court to challenge the strike. Following their over 7-month stay at home, the students says it is time for ASU to have a rethink on the matter in the interest of all Nigerians.
As a leaders of Nigerian students, to ensure that their welfare is being given to them. We keep on doing that. We are always with the government where we used to advise them and appeal to them to do the needful for us. And inshallah, we'll keep on doing that until when we achieve our target.
NANS lamented that they are always at the receiving end whenever issues of strike come up. They, however, reiterated their commitment to protect the interests of Nigerian students by ensuring an end to the long face-off between ASU and the federal government.
My brother, keep it the record. Tomorrow, doctors will go to strike, ASU will go to strike, judiciary will go to strike, and this country will stand still. So we are begging on ASU, I will say, it's not necessary that they must get all what they want 100%. But at least, if the government is ready to give them something, let us consider we are their children. This is affecting us directly. Because as you said, no minister today in Nigeria or federal permanent secretary in Nigeria that his son or daughters are in these public universities. They are all abroad.
They appeal to the federal government to also meet ASU's demand on salaries to enable them settle their debts and other expenses. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has filed an appeal challenging the ruling of Justice Polycarp Haman of the National Industrial Court, Abuja, which ordered the lecturers to call off their 7-month-old strike and return to the classrooms. Now, counsel to ASU, Femi Falana, based their appeal on 14 grounds. The motion is seeking leave to file the appeal pursuant to Section 243 of the Constitution that requires the party to seek a leave of court to appeal the judgment or ruling of the National Industrial Court. It is also seeking for a stay of execution of the orders of the court pending the hearing on determination of the appeal. The application was supported by an affidavit which was deposed to by Samuel Ame, a research assistant in the office of Falana and Falana's chambers. You're watching the news update coming to you live on Trust Television. Coming up after the break. Should women propose marriage to men? Let's find out after this break. Stay with us.
Why worry about the troubles of the world when God has said He will never leave you or forsake you?
Give forgiveness. Your shortcomings are paid.
Why worry about what you do when you have the Holy Spirit to always guide you?
Out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts.
Why bother about how you can please God when He said all your sins are forgiven and He sees you absolutely flawless?
I command your blood pressure come back to normal.
Believe. Join us every Sunday by 8 a.m. and a repeat broadcast by 5 p.m. for Divine Path, where we teach you how to navigate the world as a Christian. Remember, God sees you absolutely flawless.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching News Update on Trust Television. A recap of our top stories. ISWAP abducts policemen, 7 members of civilian JTF in Borno State. APC names members of Presidential Campaign Council with Vice President and Secretary to the Government of the Federation missing. Moving to more news now. Polycyclist ovary syndrome, popularly known with its abbreviation PCOS, is a common condition that affects how a woman's ovaries work and could ultimately affect the fertility of a woman. Now, September is the month designated to stir up awareness for the condition, and in line with this, stakeholders have staged the first ever Nigerian PCOS walk. Chiamaka Nwafo reports.
The start-off point is the Millennium Park. Participants are registered and offered free medical checkup. Then there's aerobics to get the participants ready for the walk. But perhaps the crucial question is, what's the point in all of this? It turns out the motivation is fueled by a survivor.
11 years ago, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. At that time, I didn't even know what it is. There was little or no information concerning this condition. The statistics shows that 1 in 10 women have polycystic ovarian syndrome, but half of that number, 50% of that number, may remain undiagnosed. That's why I have decided to take it upon myself to champion this cause, to put out as enough information and education as I can, do my bit to let women know that these things can be treated, the condition can be treated, it can be controlled.
So what is PCOS? A doctor explains the ailment.
PCOS is called, full name is polycystic ovary syndrome. So as the name says, we normally will see a lot of cysts on the ovaries. So we normally will call it in medical terms an anovulatory dysfunction, where the ovary does not produce an egg. So in this case, the ovaries are not able to produce an egg regularly. So what you see a lot is what we call menstrual irregularities, and also they have issues with fertility. The also unique nature of PCOS in itself is also that it has a syndrome attached to it. So most people that have PCOS have weight issues, weight challenges, but although we do see PCOS in very slim people as well. Some people are said that they have a lot of cysts on their ovaries, but they don't necessarily have the polycystic ovary syndrome.
One is tempted to ask, why should PCOS awareness be sponsored?
We are really excited to come on this sponsorship because the excellence and stability we speak about is a wholeness something, and we know that a lot of women are going through health issue we call PCOS, so this is like a reach out to make sure that people get the daily information that they need.
To demonstrate the importance of building awareness for this cause, participation is not restricted to women alone.
Aside from the major things that PCOS does to your life, there are daily other things that affect your life, like depression, low moods, tiredness, anxiety, fatigue, different things. But the doctors don't treat that. They just tell you, oh, come back when you're to have a baby. So being a patient of PCOS over the last couple of years has been quite a depressing period.
I believe that this awareness that we started today is a huge step for people to know about this. I am very, very sure that majority of the women don't even know that they live with polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Important information emanating from the awareness walk is that PCOS can be treated, and every woman with the issue can live a whole and healthy life. Chama Kamafo, Trust TV, Abuja.
Now, one tradition that has come to stay the world over is that of men proposing to ladies when it comes to marital relationships. Now, with each passing day since the feminist revolution of the 1970s, there have been noticeable shifts in that tradition as the world has gradually been subtly introduced to the idea that it may just be fine for a lady to propose to a man as well. So, what do people think of the possibility of having the ladies propose to the men? Fatima Musa speaks to some Nigerians in Abuja. Let's join her.
Can a woman propose marriage to a man? Well, that's the question of the day. In some parts of the world, proposing marriage is not a big deal. But some religion, tradition, and culture thinks otherwise. Let's find out from people what they think about this.
For many, women proposing to their male partners is nothing new, as it has been witnessed in many parts of the world. To this group of people, as far as the result is positive, it doesn't matter who pops the question.
Yes, of course. Like, maybe you are in love with somebody and the person is not financially okay and you are okay. It's not a bad deal. But here in Nigeria, we take it as a wrong thing for men.
Yeah, it's normal. It's only in this part of the world that you see women feeling inferiority complex when it comes to issue of proposing to marriage. In many countries, like some developed countries, you see how bold the woman will be to propose to a man for marriage.
We are in a modernized society now. What happens previously, due to our culture, people feel that, as a man, you're supposed to do everything. But with modernization and the way it works now, it's easy.
If a woman can take that bold step and ask, then before a woman can ask a man, will you marry me? They must have been in a relationship. You know the kind of man you're going out with.
On the other side of the divided are those who see it as a no-no, since the responsibility of popping the question rests on the men. To them, religious and traditional belief system restricts them from such modern-day contradictions of age-long practices.
Well, it all depends. Some people might think that the lady is desperate, that she doesn't have self-respect based on the African culture. You know, we are Africans, yes, but it all depends on personal opinion, you understand?
Well, I don't think it's okay according to my religion. I'm a Christian, and I don't think I've ever come across any place in the Bible where a woman approached a man.
Because there will not be respect, and he will not know the value of the woman. That's why.
Well, there you have it. Some people say it's okay for a woman to propose marriage to a man due to civilization, while some say it's against their religion and tradition. Fatima Musa, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Well, what do you think? I'll leave you to answer that. Now, moving on, about 16 cases of fire and other incidents were recorded during the third quarter of 2022, particularly between the months of July and August in Bauchi State. The director of Bauchi State Fire Service, Bala Garba, disclosed this in an interview with Trust TV on fire disaster management in 2022. Adamu Imam completes the report.
Despite the huge funds expended on fire service stations across the country, Nigerians still believe that services from these stations still need government attention, especially in the area of modern firefighting equipment. Despite the above position from Nigerians, the Fire Service Director says they are working hand in hand with the federal firefighters in an efficient way that guarantees safety.
Since then, the Federal Fire Service started building the office at Mudalawa, but up to now the office is not yet to be commissioned. But what we normally do here in the headquarters, anytime we receive a call, a fire call, normally either the state went or first, or the Federal Fire Service follow, or we go together to fight the fire anytime we receive.
He also agreed that there has been an increase in cases of fire disaster, noted that they mostly occur during the dry season, attributing that to carelessness on the part of the people.
Currently, we are in the rainy season as of now. But, we can see there is no much rapid response, mostly in the incident of fire. But during the dry season, this is the period of peak that we normally have.
On their part, some Bauchi residents say they have little knowledge on how to prevent fire disasters.
At least that started from the small before it reached out of control. Yeah, at this small stage, I think perhaps I can be able to quench.
Locally, you have to use fire extinguisher. After fire extinguisher, you know, there is local people that is used to do their hand to quench some fire if it is escalate.
To quench the fire, we soak the blanket in the water, then we throw it on the fire. It can also quench it.
They, however, expect in dealing with fire disaster, the state and the federal government should do more in the area of public awareness to save lives and property of the citizenry. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Against the backdrop of the lingering challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, catastrophic weather events and conflicts, President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday in New York called for more private sector participation in the humanitarian sector in Nigeria. The president, who stressed the need for efficient collaboration among stakeholders involved in humanitarian action and disaster mitigation in the country, urged bilateral and multilateral development partners to continue to provide technical support, to well-planned policies and programs in the sector. The president spoke at a side event at the 77th United Nations General Assembly hosted by the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, titled Strengthening Resilience and Sustaining Development, a Humanitarian Development Peace Approach to Leaving No One Behind. On the foreign scene, Kremlin-held regions of eastern and southern Ukraine on Saturday entered the second day of voting to become parts of Russia. The voting on whether Russia should annex 4 regions of Ukraine started Friday, dramatically raising the stakes even months after Moscow's troops invaded. The same day polling got underway, UN and Ukrainian officials revealed what they said was more evidence of Russian war crimes, including executions and torture. The US President Joe Biden called it a false pretext to try to annex parts of Ukraine by force in flagrant violation of international law, adding that the US will work with allies and partners to impose additional swift and severe economic costs on Ukraine. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, in comments made to his Ukrainian counterpart Dmytro Kuleba at the UN General Assembly on Friday, said the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries must be respected. And in sports, Viviane Miedema scored twice as Arsenal cruised to a North London derby victory against Tottenham in front of a record crowd at Emirates Stadium. The Gunners beat the Tottenham side 4-0 with 47,367 fans watching. The previous Women's Super League record of 36,262 was set in 2019 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the Riverside fixtures. Saturday's win was Arsenal's 10th successive victory in the WSL. And Arsenal have not considered in their past 8 WSL games and have scored 39 goals in their 10 wins, which go back to last season. And that's about the size of the bulletin this hour. Do remember to connect with us across all our social media platforms. I am Nten Ekbangmeni. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.